"You can't date my son." The words slammed into the air like the crack of a whip. For a moment, the hallway of the Bennett mansion froze. Even the ticking of the grandfather clock seemed to pause. The crystal chandelier overhead caught the sunlight, scattering it across the marble floor, but its beauty felt hollow in that instant. Naomi's breath caught in her throat. She had been holding Ethan's hand, her fingers loosely laced through his, as they stood before his parents' gleaming front door just minutes ago. She had expected a polite, maybe cautious greeting, not this. Mrs. Bennett stood at the top of the staircase, her hand gripping the polished mahogany railing so tightly her knuckles turned white. Her pearl necklace glinted against her flawless silk blouse. She looked like a queen staring down at an intruder, and Naomi felt like every inch of her was being judged. "Mother." Ethan's voice was tight. "What are you talking about?" His mother's eyes didn't leave Naomi. "You heard me. She cannot date you." Her tone was calm, but the calm that comes right before a storm. Naomi's chest tightened. She wanted to say something, to ask why, to defend herself, but her voice was trapped under the weight of the silence that followed. She had never been inside a home like this. Gold-trimmed walls, paintings that looked like they belonged in a museum, a faint lavender scent in the air. And yet, in this palace of wealth, she had never felt smaller. Ethan moved a step in front of her. "You don't even know her yet." "I don't need to," Mrs. Bennett replied sharply, her words slicing through the room. "It's not about knowing her. It's about what is appropriate." She let the word hang, heavy with meaning. Naomi's stomach churned. She knew what that meant. She had heard it before in different ways, in different tones. Sometimes whispered behind closed doors, sometimes spat outright. Appropriate wasn't about her clothes or her manners. It was about her skin. Mr. Bennett, who had been standing quietly in the background, shifted uncomfortably. His gaze flicked from his wife to his son, but he said nothing. "Appropriate." Ethan's jaw clenched. "You mean because she's black?" Mrs. Bennett's eyes narrowed. "Don't twist my words, Ethan." "I'm not twisting anything. Just say it." Naomi felt Ethan's grip tighten around her hand. She could feel his pulse, fast and strong, as if he was holding her not just out of love, but as a promise not to let her stand alone. Mrs. Bennett took a slow step down the stairs. "Our family has a certain image. People talk. Business partners talk. And whether you like it or not, appearances matter. You're a Bennett. You have responsibilities." Naomi's ears rang. She had walked into this house believing she could meet Ethan's parents and show them that she wasn't some stereotype they might imagine. But the battle had started before she even had a chance to speak. "Responsibilities." Ethan's voice cracked, but not with weakness, with fury. "My only responsibility is to be with someone I love. And I love her." The words hit Naomi like a warm wave. Her heart swelled and ached at the same time. She had known Ethan was brave, but hearing him say it here, in front of his parents' cold stares, made her want to cry, closed the distance between them. "Ethan, I am not going to let you throw away your future because of a phase." Naomi's chest rose and fell. Phase. That's what she was to this woman. Something temporary. Something disposable. Ethan's voice dropped, low and dangerous. "This is not a phase. And if you can't see her for the incredible person she is, then maybe I don't care about being a Bennett anymore." The silence that followed was suffocating. Naomi's heart thudded in her ears. Mrs. Bennett's eyes flickered, just for a moment, as if his words had actually cut her. But then the mask returned. "We'll talk about this later. Alone." Ethan shook his head. "No, we're talking about it now." And then, unexpectedly, Naomi's phone buzzed in her pocket. She glanced down. A message from her younger brother. "Malik? Sis? Where are you?" "Mom's asking. We need you home." Her throat tightened. She couldn't let Ethan's family see her cry, but the tension in her chest was almost unbearable. "I think I should go," she said quietly. "No," Ethan said instantly, turning to her. "You're not running away from this." "I'm not running," she replied, her voice trembling. I need space." Mrs. Bennett crossed her arms. That's probably for the best. Naomi met her gaze one last time. There was no apology there. No softness. Just walls, the kind built over generations, reinforced by pride and prejudice. She turned toward the door. Ethan followed her, but she stopped him with a hand on his chest. "I'll call you," she whispered. He searched her face, pain flickering in his eyes. "Promise. Promise." As she stepped out into the sharp afternoon air, the mansion's door closed behind her with a heavy thud. She stood on the driveway for a moment, staring at the row of luxury cars gleaming under the sun. It was a world she didn't belong to, not because she wasn't worthy, but because they had decided she wasn't. She walked down the long path to the street, her mind a storm. She thought of Ethan's hand in hers, his words, "I love her," and wondered if that love could survive the weight of his family's expectations. Back inside, Ethan stood in the hallway, facing his mother. "This isn't over," he said quietly. Mrs. Bennet's reply was cold and precise. "It is, if you want to stay my son." Ethan's fists clenched, and in that moment, something inside him shifted. He wasn't sure yet what he was willing to lose, but he knew he wasn't willing to lose Naomi. Ethan stood in the hallway, staring at the closed front door. Naomi's absence felt like a wound, one his mother had just ripped open without a second thought. Mrs. Bennet smoothed her blouse and turned away, as if the conversation had been nothing more than a minor inconvenience before her afternoon tea. "You'll see, Ethan," she said coolly. "One day you'll thank me for saving you from a mistake." Ethan's voice was low, almost shaking. "The only mistake I see is thinking love is something you get to approve." Mrs. Bennet didn't respond. She glided toward the sitting room, her heels tapping against the marble, each step a reminder of her control over this house, and, in her mind, over her son. Mr. Bennet lingered near the doorway, shifting uncomfortably. His eyes avoided Ethan's. "Son, your mother just wants what's best." "What's best for who?" Ethan snapped. "For me? Or for your next business dinner?" Mr. Bennet's jaw tightened, but he didn't answer. He had learned long ago that peace in the Bennet household came from silence. But to Ethan, that silence was betrayal. Ethan didn't stay another second. He grabbed his car keys from the polished oak table, the metal clinking loudly in the quiet hall. Without looking back, he stormed out the front door, the sound of it slamming echoing down the long driveway. Naomi sat on the edge of her bed, her phone in her lap. Malik had been right. Their mother had been asking about her. But Naomi had mumbled some excuse about running errands and gone straight to her room. Her reflection in the mirror caught her eye. She saw the same curls, the same deep brown skin, the same tired eyes. But she also saw something new, the faint shadow of doubt creeping in. Her phone buzzed. "Ethan." She hesitated before answering. "Hey, Naomi." His voice was a mixture of anger and desperation. "I can't believe she said that to you." "I can," Naomi said softly. "It's not the first time someone's looked at me like that, Ethan. I just hoped your mom would be different." "She's wrong," he said firmly. "And I'm not going to let her push you away." Naomi lay back on her bed, staring at the ceiling. "It's not just about you and me. It's about your whole world. I'm not blind, Ethan. I saw the way she looked at me, like I was already a problem before I even opened my mouth." "You're not a problem," he said quickly. "You're," his voice broke, "you're the best thing in my life." Her heart ached at his words. "And you're the best thing in mine. But I've been here before, Ethan, with people who think love has rules. Rules about who's allowed to give it, and who's allowed to receive it. I don't care about their rules," he said. Naomi closed her eyes. "You will, when they start taking things from you." There was a long pause. "I'd give it all up for you," he said finally. Naomi's throat tightened. She wanted to believe him, but love didn't just fight against people. It fought against systems, legacies, expectations that had been carved in stone long before either of them was born. That night, Ethan didn't go home. He parked his car outside Naomi's apartment complex and texted her. "I'm downstairs." When she came out, she found him sitting on the hood of his car, his hair messy from running his hands through it, his eyes fierce. "I'm not letting them win," he said before she could even speak. "Ethan." "No," he slid off the hood and closed the space between them. "They've had control over me my whole life. Who do I talk to? Where do I go? Even what I wear to dinner. But they don't get to control who I love. Not anymore." But neither of them knew that Mrs. Bennet had already made a plan. If Ethan wouldn't leave Naomi willingly, she would make Naomi leave him. 2 days later, Naomi was in her kitchen making tea when a sharp knock rattled her apartment door. She wiped her hands on a towel and opened it, only to find Mrs. Bennet standing there. The older woman's presence sucked the warmth out of the air. She wore a tailored cream coat, her pearl earrings glinting in the hallway light. Naomi's fingers tightened on the doorframe. "Mrs. Bennet? May I come in?" Naomi hesitated. Every instinct told her to say no, but she stepped aside. Mrs. Bennet walked in as if she owned the place, her eyes scanning the modest living room. The worn couch, the framed photos of Naomi's family, the tiny potted plant on the windowsill. "This is quaint," she said, her voice laced with condescension. Naomi crossed her arms. "What do you want?" Mrs. Bennet turned to face her. "I'm here because I think you know, deep down, that this relationship cannot work." Naomi's jaw tightened. "That's not your decision to make. It is when it affects my son's future." Mrs. Bennet's tone was icy. "You don't understand the pressures of his world. The scrutiny, the expectations. If you really cared about him, you would let him go before this gets worse." Naomi's heart pounded. "You mean before people like you have to see us together?" Mrs. Bennet didn't flinch. "You're clever. You know exactly what I mean. And you also know that love isn't enough to shield him from the fallout." Naomi took a step closer. "You think I'm the danger in his life. But the truth is, the danger is believing that love should bow to prejudice." Mrs. Bennet's eyes narrowed. "You can call it what you like. I'm offering you a chance to walk away before Ethan loses everything." Naomi swallowed hard. "And what if I told you he's willing to lose it for me?" "Then you're selfish," Mrs. Bennet snapped. "If you had any decency, you'd protect him, even if it meant breaking your own heart." The words hit like a punch. Naomi could feel the burn in her chest, but she refused to show it. "Get out." Mrs. Bennet's lips pressed into a thin line. "Think about what I said." She left without another word, her heels clicking against the hallway floor. That night, Naomi sat alone, the tea from earlier now cold. Mrs. Bennet's words replayed in her mind like a poison she couldn't spit out. Was she selfish? Was she putting Ethan in an impossible position? When Ethan called, she almost didn't answer. But she did, and when she heard his voice, all the walls she'd been building cracked. "Naomi," he said softly, "I miss you." She closed her eyes. "I miss you too." There was a pause. "What's wrong?" "Ethan." Her voice trembled. "I can't be the reason you lose your family. You're not the reason. They are. They're your blood. She stopped herself. "I love you enough to walk away if I have to." "No," he said sharply. "Don't you dare do this because of her." "I'm doing this because I care about you," she whispered. "And I know how much they mean to you, even if you don't want to admit it." His breathing was uneven. "Naomi, please." But she hung up before she could change her mind. The next day, Ethan showed up at her door, his eyes red. "Don't ever do that to me again." Naomi's hands trembled. "Ethan." "No," he said, his voice breaking. "You don't get to decide that my family's comfort is more important than my happiness. You don't get to throw away what we have because you think you're protecting me." Tears pricked her eyes. "And what if I'm not strong enough to fight them forever?" "Then we'll be strong together," he said. "Naomi, I've spent my whole life living in a cage made of money and rules. You're the only thing that's felt real. Don't take that away from me." Her breath caught. And in that moment, she realized he wasn't asking her to save him from his family. He was asking her to stand with him against them. She nodded slowly, tears slipping down her cheeks. "Okay." The confrontation came sooner than expected. That weekend, The Bennetts hosted a lavish charity gala at one of their hotels. Ethan arrived with Naomi on his arm, their entrance drawing stares like magnets. The chandeliers sparkled above them, the air heavy with perfume and whispered gossip. Mrs. Bennett spotted them instantly. Her expression didn't change, but her grip on her champagne glass tightened. Ethan led Naomi straight to her. "We're here together," he said firmly, "and everyone here might as well get used to it." Mrs. Bennett's gaze shifted between them. "You've made your choice, then." "I have," Ethan said. "And it's not you." Gasps rippled through the nearby guests. Naomi felt the weight of every eye in the room. Mrs. Bennett's lips quivered, just slightly. For the first time, Naomi saw not the untouchable matriarch, but a woman realizing she could not control everything. "You're making a mistake," she said quietly. "No," Ethan replied. "I'm finally living my life." Mr. Bennett stepped forward then, his voice calm but firm. "Eleanor, maybe it's time we trust our son to know his own heart." The silence that followed was deafening. Mrs. Bennett's eyes glistened, but she said nothing more. Ethan took Naomi's hand and led her to the dance floor. The music swelled, and though the room was still full of judgment, for a moment, it felt like they were the only two people in the world. Later that night, outside the hotel, Naomi leaned into Ethan. "Are you sure you're okay?" He smiled faintly. "I'm more than okay. I'm free." And for the first time since stepping into his world, Naomi felt like maybe, just maybe, there was a place for her in it. If you were Naomi, would you have stayed and fought for love, or walked away to avoid the pain? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Tell us where you're watching from, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more powerful stories like this.